Hello, and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. So, I believe it was Rin from Drawing with Waffles who first started the Drawing with Every Blank Color Art Supplies challenge. She's done it a lot on her channel, but I do know that several other art YouTubers, many of whom I follow, have also tried it. Most recently, as I'm recording this, it was Kasey Golden who did it. She did every pink art supply she had. I also know Chloe Rose has done every green supply, and I decide it's finally time for me to try it. I've been dreading it, but also looking forward to it. Today I'm going to do every red art supply in my collection. So here are the red art supplies that made the cut. There were more. I had to be very strict with the definition of red so that I didn't have an overwhelming number of supplies to use. There is the list, and here is my reference. I'm going to do just freestyle a scene of onion top towers. The reference is from Pixabay, and the tags on the reference indicate that it is a church in Russia. I'm not entirely sure if church is the correct term there. I don't know what that building is. It could be a Christian Orthodox church, it could be a mosque, it could be a temple. I don't actually know, but that's what my reference said it was. And yeah, I'm gonna do it's either a sunset or a early evening moon picture. I haven't decided if it's a sun or a moon that I end up putting in there. Anyway, I'm not sure how to record the voiceover for this challenge. Feel free to leave comments and suggestions how you would like for me to do any of this differently next time I do the challenge. And I do think I will do the challenge again next time, so comment down below what color would you like to see me tackle next. I'd love to know. Keep in mind that blues and greens are by far the most numerous items in my collection. If I were to do those, I would have a heck of a lot of markers to deal with. So if you want to be kind to me, maybe avoid blues and greens. If you want to be mean, maybe pick blue or green. So yeah, for this voiceover, I'm just watching my sped up time-lapse footage through, and I'm going to comment, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to record that list and we'll piece it together. So in order to have a reasonable, workable number of art supplies to use, I had to be really strict with defining what red was. I excluded anything that was too orange. That took out most things called vermilion. I excluded anything that was too pink, too magenta, and a couple of things were also a little too brown. Some notable exclusions are oil paints because of the drying time, any of the wax crayons that belong to my toddler, technically, and some of the cheaper, more student quality, no-name branded watercolor pen sets, because I do have a lot of watercolors I'm including, and I have much better quality paints, so these nameless ones, they just all end up looking the same anyway. I also excluded a couple of supplies you might have seen me use before that you would think I would have because they are reds. Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay India ink and Winsor Newton drawing ink in their red shades. The P.H. Martin one is called red, the Winsor Newton one is called scarlet. Both of them are very much a dark pink rather than a true red, so those got knocked out. By the way, if you're new here, please do subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I upload every Tuesday and Thursday at minimum. Some weeks I also have bonus videos, and most of them are time-lapse videos chatting away like this. Sometimes they're challenges, sometimes they're just whatever I end up chatting about with whatever I felt like drawing. Sometimes they're tutorials, sometimes they're product reviews, and sometimes I switch it up and do a craft. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment down below. I really do appreciate the interaction in that way. It helps out so much. I love reading your comments, and I do reply to everyone. I ended up including 3 Daler Rowney gouache tubes. I have primary red, brilliant red, and crimson. I also have a couple tube watercolor paints. I have a crimson red from the Thomas Kincaid collection, and a crimson red from a cheap Asian brand called Shaloi. I have a Winsor Newton watercolor marker in cadmium red hue.
I have a cheap watercolor fan set. I said I wasn't going to include many of the cheap things, but this is unique because it is the fan out set you've probably seen advertised everywhere. This one is by Superior. I included C11 and C12. I have several watercolor, Inktense, and Gansai Tambi pans from Sakura Koi's travel set. If you go top to bottom, left to right, row 3, column 5, I used that red. I have no idea what it's called. From my Kuretake Gansai Tambi paints, I used 30, 32, and 35 from the regular 36 pan set, and then I used the red from the gem and pearl colors. That's 830 in the gem and 731 in the pearls. At this point, I started putting in some very odd shadows, considering where my light source is clearly coming from. Don't worry about it, I fix it later on. I have the first set, 12 set of Derwent Inktense pans, and I used Poppy Red. There I went over the sun/moon with the 3 oil pastels that I used, and I smoothed them together, blended them a bit with odorless mineral spirits. Specifically, that one was Gamsol. And what odorless mineral spirits is it's just an artist grade paint thinner that you can use to blend your art supplies, clean your brushes, that sort of thing. I have a Traveler Winsor Newton Cotman watercolor pan set, and I used the Crimson Hue. I also used the Crimson Hue out of the Daily Rowney Aquafine 12 pan travel set. I have several water-soluble colored pencils included from Inktense, Derwent Watercolor, and Albrecht Dürer, that is Faber-Castell's watercolor pencils. For Inktense, I have Poppy, Hot Red, Cherry, and Chili Red. And from the Derwent Watercolor, I have Crimson Light. For Albrecht Dürer, I have Dark Red, Deep Scarlet Red, Pale Geranium Light, and Middle Cadmium Red. I have a single metallic red gel pen. I have 2 dry erase markers and 2 permanent markers that you would find in office supplies. The dry erase, I have Bic and Marks-A-Lot, and for the permanent markers, I have Sharpie and just a no-name pen. Roughing in the border with the Ghana paint marker, that thing stinks. If you're careful to avoid streaking as much as possible, it ends up looking like spray paint, honestly, when it's dry, but it smells like nail polish, and your entire room will smell like that for quite a while. So if you've ever spotted those on sites like AliExpress or Wish, be aware, they stink. I have some cheap brush marker / fine liner combined water-based markers. This is Dual Art. I believe Ohuhu sells pretty much the same thing. They don't have names, I just labeled them 1 through 4 for my own purposes. And similarly, I have the watercolor brush pens from Touch 10, also similar to an Ohuhu product, also not labeled. I labeled them 1 and 2. For regular ballpoint pens, I have Papermate Inkjoy in red, and for higher quality fine liners, I have Staedtler Triplus in red. For paint markers, I have Ghana paint marker in 110, I have the Daily Rowney Simply acrylic marker in red, and I have the Derwent Line Painter number 4. I have a Daily Rowney FW acrylic ink in 517 Flame Red. There are 2 acrylic paints included. I have the Apple Barrel Craft acrylic in Flag Red, and the Derwent Academy acrylic in red. For pastels, I have a Conte Paris chalk pastel in red, and a Stabilo Carbothello pastel pencil in 325. For oil pastels, I do have a set of Pentel oil pastels. I used 11 red, 37 scarlet, and 38 crimson light. For the sketching layer back at the start, I did have 3 different erasable colored pencils. One is a colored pencil from Crazy Art that happens to be erasable. The other 2 are actual lead sketching pencils that are tinted red and therefore are much nicer to work with, much more erasable. That's a Colarase and a Staedtler Norris. Of course, it wouldn't be one of my art videos if I didn't have markers. For my alcohol markers, I have Copic Red 37 Carmine, Spectra AD Red, Winsor Newton Brush Marker Red, Spectrum Noir Illustrator DR1 Red, and 4 of my Ohuhu brush markers, Vermilion, Deep Red, Old Red, and Geranium. And of course, the largest category is my regular colored pencils. From Staedtler Super Soft, I used number 2. From Joseph Hartmut, I used just a regular red. It's not labeled at all. I called it 1. And I have a very old Crayola Red Orange. From what's left of my childhood Laurentians, I have Poppy Red. And from what's left of my teenage years Prismacolor Scholar pencils, I have 324, 325, and 326. From my Prismacolor Premieres, I used Poppy Red, Carmine, Crimson Red, and Crimson Light. And from my Gold Faber pencils, that's Faber-Castell's medium grade, student grade pencils, I have 121 and 126. And to round it out, I have my Pride and Joy, my Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. I have Deep Scarlet Red, Middle Cadmium Red, Dark Red, Madder Red, Permanent Carmine, Pale Geranium Light, Alizarin Crimson, and Deep Red. I brought out that odorless mineral spirits again to start blending some of the regular colored pencil down so it looks a little bit more like the overall painted effect I'm going for in this piece. So it appears I have about 3 more minutes, then I thought I would have trying to run through all of those product names. You would not believe how many different times I've tried to record this and gone way over, but now I have extra time before the end of the video. That's how it works, right? So at the very end you're going to see me go over that border with another layer of acrylic paint, a different acrylic paint. I'm not sure at this point which of the 2 true acrylics I used, but that's what I'm doing at the end. It cuts off pretty quickly, so that's what you're seeing. I ended up messing up the top border a little bit, and I just kind of went with it because this piece is full of character anyway. So I kind of both loved and hated this challenge. It was really hard to narrow down which supplies I was actually going to use without feeling like I was cheating too much, and parts of the process of painting this felt quite tedious. This took a lot longer than I expected. I did it in 2 sittings, about, I don't know, 8-9 hours total. I guess I'm gonna have to figure out a way to refine and expedite that process next time, because yes, I'm gonna do it next time. We are gonna have a next time. Comment down below what color you would like me to try next for the Every Supply in One Color challenge. Keep in mind that in my marker collection, I have a crap ton of blues and greens. If you're picking a color for me to do next and you want to be nice to me, maybe don't pick blue or green. And if you want to be really mean and evil, pick blue or green. And I may have to start like color matching my markers and going, these are exactly the same. This one's out. But yeah, we'll see. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I wish I could say I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, but actually I hope that you enjoyed it more than I did. And I hope that when it comes time for me to tackle this challenge again, I'll have a bit more fun because I'll have figured out how this goes. Anyway, might be leaving you with about a minute of music. I don't really like to do that. I like to talk right to the end these days so that you guys don't click away. Please stay for the end card. Please click through to something. See you guys.